Captain, there's been a transporter malfunction. These 5 words have sparked some of Star Trek's most unsettling episodes. Originally a budget-saving tool, the transporter became a gateway to profound questions about identity and consciousness. Imagine stepping onto a transporter pad, only to emerge as 2 versions of yourself, or not at all. These malfunctions, occurring 2 to 3 times per year in canon, don't just disrupt missions. They split, merge, or erase lives. In this video, we'll explore how these failures work, their ethical dilemmas, and why they remain one of sci-fi's most haunting concepts. Ready to dive in? Let's begin. The original series, Birth of a Plot Device. The transporter started as a simple solution to a production problem. Rather than filming expensive shuttle landings for every planet visit, Star Trek's creators proposed beaming characters directly to locations. In the episode The Enemy Within, this technology revealed untapped storytelling potential when a transporter accident split Captain Kirk into 2 distinct versions. This accident became a mirror reflecting 2 sides of a personality, offering a profound exploration of human duality. Contaminated by unusual ore, the transporter malfunctioned, producing good Kirk and evil Kirk. However, the labels oversimplify the reality. One version embodied compassion and intellect, but lacked decisiveness, while the other displayed aggression and boldness, descending into violence. Neither could function fully alone, illustrating how opposing traits combined to form a complete individual. This literalized duality forced the crew to confront the complexities of identity and personality. The transporter's vulnerability to environmental factors also emerged here. The magnetic properties of the ore caused the malfunction, highlighting how even advanced technology can falter in unpredictable conditions. This theme recurred throughout Star Trek, with space phenomena often triggering transporter errors. More significantly, the resolution, reintegrating both Kirks, left unanswered whether the transported person remained the same individual. The episode ends with repaired equipment and a functioning captain, but lingering questions about identity remain. What began as a narrative shortcut became one of Star Trek's most psychologically revealing plot devices. Transporter malfunctions allowed writers to isolate hidden aspects of characters, exposing vulnerabilities masked by Starfleet training. After The Enemy Within, McCoy's early skepticism about the transporter evolved into a legitimate philosophical concern about its impact on human consciousness. The episode's production choices reinforced its depth. Writer Richard Matheson treated the transporter as a tool for dissecting personality, while William Shatner distinguished the 2 Kirks through subtle performance choices, emphasizing their differences. These elements underscored that transporter accidents could expose fundamental truths about their subjects. By establishing transporter errors as opportunities for character studies rather than mere technical problems, The Enemy Within set the stage for future stories. It transformed the transporter from a practical device into a narrative tool for exploring Star Trek's most enduring ethical and philosophical dilemmas. The Next Generation: Ethical Dilemmas and Duplicates. 8 years before the events of Second Chances, a routine transporter beam from Nervala 4 encountered a planetary distortion field. Instead of compensating for the signal degradation, the system created 2 complete patterns. One, William Riker rematerialized aboard the Potemkin, while the other remained trapped on the planet's surface. Unlike Kirk's temporary split in The Enemy Within, this malfunction produced 2 fully autonomous individuals who developed separate lives and personalities. Thomas Riker, the duplicate left behind, endured years of isolation, believing himself abandoned. His resentment toward the original Riker becomes clear during their reunion. While they share identical memories up to the point of separation, Thomas's years of hardship fundamentally changed him. He struggles with feelings of illegitimacy, despite possessing all of Will Riker's memories and qualifications. This divergence highlights how identical origins can lead to vastly different outcomes when shaped by contrasting experiences. Starfleet's response to Thomas raises ethical questions. They accept him as a legitimate officer with full rights, but this decision lacks precedent, exposing gaps in Federation law. Commander Troy's romantic involvement with Thomas adds emotional complexity, as she must reconcile her past with Will against her feelings for someone who shares his history. The technical details of the accident are simplified, focusing on its consequences rather than the mechanics. The distortion field acts as a reminder of transporter vulnerabilities, but the episode avoids lengthy discussions of pattern buffers or scramblers. A practical metaphor might liken the transporter's signals split to a fork in a road, where both paths lead to complete, independent individuals. Thomas's eventual assignment to the Gandhi reflects Starfleet's pragmatic approach, acknowledging his personhood while sidestepping deeper questions about transporter regulation. Unlike Kirk's reintegration, the two Rikers part ways permanently, emphasizing their individuality. Thomas keeps his altered name, symbolizing his independence while acknowledging his connection to Will. By presenting Thomas as fully human, rather than a flawed copy, the episode challenges assumptions about identity. It forces viewers to consider the implications of transporter technology, leaving ethical questions unresolved. Thomas's later reappearance in Deep Space Nine further explores how divergent experiences shape identity, cementing second chances as a profound exploration of individuality and equality. Voyager's Tuvix, the ultimate ethical test. The Voyager episode, Tuvix, presented a transporter accident with profound ethical consequences. When an alien orchid disrupted the ship's transporter biofilters, like a virus corrupting a computer system, Tuvok and Neelix merged during beam-up from a planetary survey. The resulting being, Tuvix, was not a temporary anomaly but a stable fusion of their memories, skills, and personalities. He combined Tuvok's strategic thinking with Neelix's cooking abilities, while developing his own unique mannerisms and identity. Janeway faced an impossible decision as captain. The doctor confirmed Tuvix's health and stable biology, proving he was a viable life form, not a malfunction. Over weeks, Tuvix integrated into the crew, performing tasks neither Tuvok nor Neelix could have managed alone. His growing friendships deepened the moral complexity. He wasn't just a combination of two people, but someone who had formed his own relationships and identity. When the doctor developed a separation procedure, Tuvix pleaded with Janeway, asserting his right to exist as an individual with his own consciousness and feelings. The episode framed this ethical challenge with precision. Tuvix's emotional appeal, delivered in the briefing room like a legal hearing, invoked Starfleet's principles about the sanctity of life. Janeway was forced to weigh these values against her duty to restore her original crew members. The crew's reactions reflected their discomfort. Kes supported Tuvix's right to live, while others avoided taking sides, underscoring the moral ambiguity of either choice. Unlike typical transporter accidents, the focus here was on ethics, not technobabble. The Orchid served as a plot device, with minimal explanation of its mechanics. Voyager's crew initially accepted Tuvix's presence, allowing the ethical dilemma to unfold naturally. When the separation procedure emerged, it required Janeway to actively choose to end Tuvix, rather than simply fix a malfunction. The conclusion offered no compromise. Restoring Tuvok and Neelix meant irrevocably ending Tuvix. His final pleas, met with silence, underscored the emotional weight of Janeway's decision. The doctor's refusal to perform the procedure left her to act alone, emphasizing her personal responsibility. Tuvix's fate remains a haunting reflection on identity, sacrifice, and the cost of command. The dark side. Transporter as weapon. The transporter's physics holds a dangerous potential that contrasts sharply with Starfleet's philosophy of peaceful exploration. While based on Einstein's E equals mc squared, the system capable of moving crew members safely could, in theory, unleash catastrophic energy. Converting just 1 gram of matter would release over 21,000 tons of TNT, an unimaginable force Starfleet avoids weaponizing. This delicate balance between creation and destruction makes transporters akin to glass instruments, powerful yet fragile, requiring precision to prevent disaster. The motion picture offered the first visceral depiction of transporter failure. A malfunction caused 2 officers to rematerialize with their internal organs grotesquely fused outside their bodies, a horrifying result of corrupted molecular patterns. Unlike clean phaser strikes, this incident grounded transporter risks in stark physical terms, showing the gruesome consequences of technical errors. Though such graphic failures are rare, the scene underscored the lethal potential of even unintentional mishaps. The Dominion later demonstrated transporters' tactical potential, using them to beam Jem'Hadar soldiers directly onto enemy ships during combat. This bypassed shields and physical barriers, neutralizing Starfleet's mobility advantage. Unlike theoretical doomsday scenarios, this practical weaponization achieved immediate results, forcing Starfleet to develop countermeasures. The tactic highlighted how transporters could be repurposed for aggression, even without altering their core function. Starfleet itself has occasionally blurred the line between transport and weapon. Protocols allow beaming armed photon grenades onto hostile ships, effectively turning transporters into precision missile systems. While this involves delivering existing ordnance rather than converting matter to energy, it acknowledges the system's combat utility. Experimental attempts to modify transporters for particle beam projection were abandoned due to instability, but the dual-use potential remains clear. What prevents full-scale weaponization isn't technical limitation, but ethical restraint. The same technology that rebuilds human bodies could easily destroy them with minor recalibrations. Starfleet's strict protocols embed safeguards, but history shows any system can be subverted under pressure. The Dominion War tested these boundaries, with Section 31 reportedly exploring transporter-based biological weapons before abandoning the idea due to unpredictable risks. Ultimately, transporters' indispensability as tools for exploration and survival acts as a deterrent against their militarization. This balance between utility and restraint reflects Starfleet's commitment to creation over destruction, even when the line between the two remains perilously thin. Psychological toll, the unseen cost. The psychological impact of transporter technology often gets overlooked in discussions about accidents and malfunctions. While physical mishaps receive dramatic attention, the mental toll on frequent users presents equally serious concerns. Transporter psychosis first appeared in Starfleet records as early as 2209, diagnosed as psychological and physiological damage from repeated rematerialization errors. Early versions of the technology caused documented cases of mental deterioration until the introduction of multiplex pattern buffers in 2319 helped mitigate the issue. However, even flawless transports raised unsettling questions about how the process affected users. Reginald Barclay's transportophobia in Realm of Fear provided the franchise's most personal exploration of these effects. His fear wasn't just nervousness, it consumed his daily life aboard the ship. He avoided transporters whenever possible, and when forced to use them, He experienced vivid hallucinations of worm-like creatures and debilitating anxiety. Barclay's case was unique because no malfunction occurred. His distress stemmed from the process itself: molecular disassembly and reconstruction. Imagine a recipe where every ingredient is broken down to its smallest parts and reassembled perfectly, but the cook wonders if the dish still tastes the same. For Barclay, the psychological strain of being taken apart was inescapable. The potential for trauma becomes clearer when considering how transporters function. The system breaks down a person at the quantum level before reassembling them, raising disturbing questions about consciousness and identity. Dr. McCoy famously resisted transporter use, calling it unnatural, a sentiment echoed by Dr. Pulaski. Their medical expertise gave them insight into the unsettling implications for both body and mind. Realm of Fear also introduced the terrifying concept of pattern buffer entrapment. Barclay's brief experience of existing in this limbo state, aware but formless, highlighted a unique psychological horror. Early Starfleet logs describe similar incidents, with survivors reporting profound existential isolation. Unlike physical accidents, buffer entrapment leaves individuals trapped in a state of disembodied awareness, amplifying fears of the technology. The transporter's paradox lies in its convenience versus its conceptual unease. Even in a universe of perfected technology, Star Trek reminds us that human psychology struggles with the implications of being broken down and rebuilt, piece by piece. In conclusion, transporter accidents began as practical solutions for television production, but they evolved into some of Star Trek's most thought-provoking stories. From Kirk's divided self to Tuvix's tragic dilemma, these malfunctions challenge our understanding of identity and ethics. They reveal the hidden costs of technology, physical risks, psychological tolls, and philosophical questions. Each incident underscores how progress can reshape what it means to be human. The transporter embodies Star Trek's tension between technological optimism and human caution. So, what would you choose if faced with a transporter dilemma? These stories endure because they confront us with impossible choices and haunting truths.